12 gemstones, and dealers are quietly hoping you walk in carrying one. Not to admire it, to buy it off you before you realize what it's worth. Because most people think dealers exist to sell stones. The truth runs the other way. Some days, they want to buy far more than they sell. Every so often, somebody walks in with a gemstone they don't understand. It belonged to a parent, a grandparent, or it sat unworn in a drawer for 20 silent years. And the dealer knows something the owner does not. The mine sealed shut decades ago. The collectors started hunting. The supply quietly evaporated. Here's the part that stings. Some of these stones are sitting in ordinary jewelry boxes right now. Maybe yours. Handed off for pocket change by people who had no idea they were giving away a fortune. Quick one before we start. Ever inherited a piece you never got appraised? Drop it in the comments. And keep it in mind. By number 1, you may want to dig it back out. These are the 12A dealer clocks the instant they touch the glass, while the face gives away nothing. And number 1 isn't a diamond. Many serious dealers would rather own it than a diamond of equal value. We begin with a stone that outfires the rarest diamonds on Earth, yet gets flicked aside as a worthless green curiosity. Number 12, Demantoid Garnet. The owner dismisses it as a green chip. The dealer recognizes an irreplaceable asset that outfires a diamond. That is the entire tragedy of this stone, compressed into one glance. Demantoid throws more fire than a diamond, a fierce electric green brilliance that almost nothing in nature matches. The finest material erupted from the Ural Mountains of Russia over a century ago, and authentic Russian demantoid hides delicate golden horsetail inclusions inside it. Collectors don't tolerate those inclusions. They hunt them like a signature. The moment the obvious stones grew crowded and expensive, the smart money marched straight here. Fine examples have steadily marched upward in value. No new wave of top-grade rough is coming, so every estate piece that surfaces vanishes within days of hitting the trade. A demantoid the size of a single pea can swallow stones many times its size and reputation whole. Owners surrender it for pocket change. Dealers know it never comes back. Why dealers want it? Supply is limited and shrinking. Collector interest grows every year. Fine old material rarely surfaces. Number 11, Fine Spinel. The owner inherits a slightly off ruby. The dealer holds a stone that fooled kings. Some of the most celebrated rubies in royal history were Spinel all along. Stones still mounted in actual crown jewels, worn by monarchs who died never knowing the difference. The deception lasted centuries. That deception now pays dividends to whoever owns one. Many owners flatly assume Spinel means a cheap laboratory fake, or they've watched a magnificent red one, branded a second-rate ruby, their entire lives. The moment the trade stopped treating Spinel as an imposter and started prizing it for itself, the demand detonated. Vivid reds, hot pinks, and steel-gray Spinels now disappear into the hands of buyers sick of paying ruby prices for ruby treatments. Collectors confess it openly. They'd take a fine Spinel over most rubies on the market. The crown jewels settled this argument centuries ago. The rest of us are just catching up. Why dealers want it? Almost always completely untreated, still badly undervalued today. Recognition is rising fast. Number 10, Tsavorite Garnet. The owner sees a lesser emerald. The dealer sees a superior stone the world forgot to price. Set a fine Tsavorite beside an emerald, and the result is uncomfortable. The Tsavorite is cleaner, brighter, tougher, and it sells for a fraction of the price. It lives trapped in emerald's shadow. People glimpse green and instinctively whisper, "Emerald," never suspecting the better stone is the one already on their hand. The East African sources are brutal, erratic, and stingy, so fine large stones have always been desperately scarce. That scarcity is finally forcing its way into the price. The moment buyers learned the truth, the gap with emerald began to close fast. It is cleaner, tougher, and rarer than emerald. The market isn't ignoring a beautiful stone. It's mispricing an asset. Why dealers want it? Untreated, unlike most emeralds, tougher and easier to wear. Demand is steadily rising. Number 9, Paraiba tourmaline. The owner sees an unremarkable blue specimen. The dealer sees one of the most coveted gems discovered in modern history. Some stones glow. Paraiba looks lit from within, a violent, neon blue-green that burns itself into memory on first contact. The original Brazilian deposit was minuscule, and it is now effectively dead. The trace copper that ignites that impossible color makes the stone impossible to fake and impossible to replace. Prices didn't climb. They aggressively broke records again and again until figures that once sounded absurd became the floor. Thousands sit unrecognized in jewelry boxes, while collectors wage quiet wars over every example that escapes one. A stone this loud should be impossible to overlook. Owners overlook it daily. Why dealers want it? Original source is nearly exhausted. Prices have aggressively broken records. Every fine example sparks bidding. The stones ahead grow harder to replace with every step. One of them sits in jewelry boxes across the planet right now, completely unrecognized, while collectors fight over every clean example they can run down. From here, a single law governs everything. The less the owner understands the stone, the more violently the dealer wants it. Number 8. Natural zircon. The owner believes they own a fake. The dealer knows they're surrendering the real thing for free. Burn this distinction into memory because it costs people fortunes. This is not cubic zirconia. That's the cheap synthetic imitation. Natural zircon is an ancient, genuinely mined gemstone, and one of the most savagely underrated stones on this entire list. The name confusion is merciless. People hear zircon, think fake, and hand over a stunning natural stone for the price of a sandwich. Natural zircon detonates with brilliance and fire, sparkling like stones costing many times more. Blue zircon in particular commands a cult of devoted collectors, and clean, large examples are genuinely hard to run down. The moment the mainstream hunt for value spilled past the obvious names, it crashed straight into zircon. It's still cheap. Informed buyers are stockpiling it before the rest of the world wakes up. The people selling zircon as fake are handing strangers the real thing. Why dealers want it? Badly misunderstood and underpriced. Brilliance rivals far costlier stones. Awareness is quietly growing. Number 7. Alexandrite. The owner sees a dull green stone. The dealer sees a gem that performs a magic trick the owner never witnessed. Alexandrite changes color. Green in daylight, red under warm indoor light. A total transformation inside a single stone. Under one type of light, it passes for an ordinary greenish gem, so the owner simply never sees it shift and never grasps what they hold. A strong, clean color change in any meaningful size is brutally rare, and the spectacle alone closes the sale. The classic sources are dead, and synthetics flood the bottom of the market, which only sharpens the hunger for verified natural material. This is exactly where collectors and casual buyers split into two different species. It is the only stone here that conceals its true worth until the light changes. Most owners never think to look twice. Why dealers want it? True color change is extremely rare. Classic sources are long gone. Collector appeal is enormous. Number 6. Black opal. The owner sees fragile, soft, cheap. The dealer sees a one-time event that will never repeat. Most opal is pleasant. Black opal is theatrical. Against its dark body, the colors refuse to lie flat. They drift and detonate inside the stone, firing electric blues, greens, and reds with every movement of the hand. The finest black opal claws its way out of a single famous region of Australia, and top-grade rough grows harder and costlier to pull from the ground every season. The moment the best material tightened, prices on superior stones aggressively climbed, and Asian demand stormed in to chase them. Supply isn't expanding. The finest stones are no longer jewelry. They're collector trophies. No two are alike, not now, not ever. Every other gem here can theoretically be matched. A black opal is gone the instant it leaves your hand. Why dealers want it? Top Australian rough is tightening. Every fine stone is unique. Collector demand keeps climbing. The secret doctrine. Why dealers never tell you what they truly hunt. Here is the part of the trade no one is supposed to explain to you. Every serious dealer runs two operations that pull violently against each other. Almost no customer ever sees the second one. The first is the velocity. Pure cash flow. Selling stones fast enough to make payroll, pay the rent, and fund the next strike. This is the front display case, and diamonds rule it. Simple to price, simple to compare, simple for a stranger to say yes to. They move fast and they move predictably. This is the illusion the public is permitted to see. The second operation is the hidden capital, the slow, deliberate accumulation of stones that compound in value the longer they're locked away. The closed mine rarities, the untreated naturals, the collector magnets. These almost never touch the display case. They're spirited into the back, offered privately to a short list of trusted hands, and some never surface publicly in the dealer's lifetime. Now the arbitrage, stated as bluntly as it has ever been written. Dealers sell what they can replace, so they can afford to buy what they can never replace. The velocity funds the hidden capital. Every fast diamond sale quietly bankrolls the hunt for the one stone that will never walk through the door again. The whole storefront is a feeding mechanism for the ledger nobody is allowed to read. So when an owner strolls in carrying a legacy asset without knowing it's a legacy asset, the dealer faces one silent decision: sell you a replacement from the case, or buy the irreplaceable thing trembling in your hand. Replacement difficulty is the entire game. A stone you can reorder by Tuesday is inventory. A stone the earth can never reissue is wealth. The top 5 are all wealth. Number 5. Kashmir sapphire. The owner sees an unremarkable blue specimen. The dealer sees a geological anomaly the earth will never manufacture again. Some stones are famous. This one is sovereign. For one brief window just over a century ago, a remote deposit high in the Himalayas surrendered sapphires with a soft, velvety, cornflower blue glow, an optical phenomenon never matched anywhere else on the planet. Now understand what the closure truly means, because it isn't a footnote, it's a sentence. The entire global supply of this exact glow is already trapped above ground, and it is shrinking. Not because stones are destroyed, but because every great Kashmir that slips into a private collection or a museum is locked away forever, severed from circulation. Each disappearance makes the survivors more legendary, and the survivors more impossible to buy. This stone has no restock. It has a finite closing window. A confirmed Kashmir is the name that drops an entire auction room into silence. Why dealers want it? Source mine closed generations ago. Supply only shrinks as collectors hoard. A confirmed pedigree silences auctions. Number 4. Burmese ruby. The owner sees a ruby. The dealer sees a fortune hinging on one invisible word. Of every red stone on earth, one origin sits at the summit, and within that origin, a single word governs everything: unheated. The overwhelming majority of rubies on the market are cooked, heat-treated to force out color. That makes a fine, pristine, untreated Burmese ruby genuinely rare, and that untouched state is precisely what serious collectors demand above all else. The supply of fine, unheated material is erratic and finite, while the appetite for true pigeon's blood, red, has never burned hotter. 2 rubies can look identical across a counter. One was altered by human hands, the other was not. That single invisible distinction is a fortune. Most owners have no idea which one is on their finger. Why dealers want it? Untreated examples are genuinely rare. Top origin red commands huge premiums. Demand keeps outrunning finite supply. If those figures already sound severe, brace for what unfolded with the next stone once its primary source began to vanish. We've now crossed into the top tier, a realm where price is no longer set by retail markets, but behind closed doors, at private auction, by people who never reveal what they paid. Number 3. Jadeite. The owner sees a green pebble. The dealer sees a stone certain collectors would choose over a diamond. In the West, jade gets dismissed as carving material. In Asia, the finest jadeite is treasure, ranked beside the rarest colored diamonds on Earth. Western owners flatly underestimate it, unable to separate fine imperial green jadeite from ordinary jade, and a magnificent piece rots in a drawer for decades. Top-grade jadeite, intensely green, glowing, translucent, untreated, commands staggering sums in the Asian collector market, and the dealers wired into that demand know exactly where every dollar lives. The moment serious Asian collecting power arrived, fine jadeite hardened into a global blue-chip asset, and the supply of truly top material stayed painfully finite. This market does not cool on command. To a Western owner, a greenstone. To the right collector across the world, a treasure they'd take over a diamond without hesitation, and they're the ones writing the checks. Why dealers want it. Asian collector demand is immense. Top untreated material is scarce. The market rarely cools down. Number 2. Colombian emerald. The owner sees a treated stone like all the others. The dealer sees the rare one telling the truth. Emerald is famous. Fine. Untreated Colombian emerald is a different animal entirely. Nearly every emerald on the market is oiled or filled to disguise its internal fractures, so owners flatly assume all emeralds are treated and never imagine an untreated stone is worth dramatically more. The classic old Colombian mines produced a warm, faintly bluish green that defines exactly what the world pictures as the perfect emerald. A pristine, minimally treated stone from that origin is a genuine event. The moment buyers grew sophisticated about treatment, the premium for clean, untreated old mine pedigree tore open into a chasm. Most emeralds borrow their beauty from a treatment vial. A pristine old mine Colombian owes nothing to anyone. The market pays a fortune for that honesty. Why dealers want it? Untreated examples are extremely rare. Old mine pedigree carries finite value. Educated buyers pay rising premiums. If you've ever inherited jewelry from a parent or a grandparent, the final stone is the one you should pray to find. It hides in plain sight more often than anything else on this list, and almost no owner recognizes it before it slips out of their hands forever. Number 1. Natural pink diamond. The owner sees a tinted stone. The dealer sees one of the rarest objects on the planet. Not a white diamond, a pink one. A modest pink diamond tucked into inherited jewelry gets routinely mistaken for a tinted white diamond, a pale sapphire, or outright costume glass. The owner never suspects they hold a finite fragment of geological history. The single mine, responsible for the overwhelming majority of the world's pink diamonds, has closed. That is the whole story. There is no more primary supply. Every natural pink diamond that will ever exist already exists. The moment that mine went dark, a permanently fixed supply collided head-on with relentless global demand, and fine pink diamonds hardened into one of the most concentrated stores of value in the entire gem world. The supply cannot grow. The demand spans continents. This isn't salesmanship. It's arithmetic performed on a number that can never rise again. Why dealers want it? The main mine closed permanently. Supply can never grow again. Global demand keeps intensifying. Outro. The gravest mistake a gemstone owner makes isn't selling too early. It's surrendering something irreplaceable without ever knowing why the world wanted it. Sometimes the stone sitting silent in an old jewelry box, the one ignored for years, the one nobody thought to examine, is the exact stone a dealer has hunted all year. The owners who understand that gap make the smartest decisions in the room. The rest hand over fortunes for pocket change and never feel it leave. So before you part with anything, ask the one question the dealer is already asking in silence. Can this stone ever be replaced? If the answer is no, you aren't holding jewelry. You are holding a finite store of wealth that the earth will never manufacture again.